Hi, fifth graders. Today you're going to need your Go Math book for our notes video, and you're going to want to flip to page 87. Our goal today is that we're going to be able to multiply fractions. And multiplying fractions actually is a little bit easier than adding and subtracting fractions. And we'll get to why in a second. Let's read our first problem of the day, and we can explain two ways in order to multiply fractions. So our problem says, some of the corn grown in the United States is used for making fuel. Suppose 7/10 of a farmer's total crop is corn. He then sells 2/5 of the corn for fuel production. What fraction of the farmer's total crop does he sell for fuel production? So he has 7/10 of his total crop. He sells 2/5. We're going to multiply those two together. Okay. The first way to do this requires you to do a little bit more work in the end and a little less work in the beginning. The first way to do it is just to multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. As I said, this is a little easier than adding and subtracting fractions because you do not need to find a common denominator. Okay, you don't need to find a common denominator. That's the first difference between adding and subtracting and multiplying. The second difference is that you actually multiply the denominators. You don't leave them the same. So you are just going to strictly multiply across here. So 2 times 7 gives me 14. And then 5 times 10 is going to give me 50. So I get 14/50ths. Now, a little bit more work part comes in right here where you need to then reduce your fraction. So 14 has 2 as the greatest common factor between 14 and 50. So I need to divide my top and bottom by 2 to get 7/25. So 2/5 times 7/10 is going to equal 7/25. Now, the other way to do this, I actually would suggest doing it this way. It will make it easier for you to reduce because you're going to be reducing in the beginning rather than the end. Now, I'm going to go to the side to do this problem, even though we have a lot of stuff right here. I'm going to go to the side to do it. So we have 2/5 times 7/10. I call this the butterfly way of doing this, where I am looking across from one numerator of a fraction to the other fraction's denominator. So I'm looking at 2 and 10, and I'm going to ask myself, is there a factor that goes into both 2 and 10? Is there a number that goes into 2 and 10 evenly? And it has to be the same number. So 2 goes into 2, and 2 also goes into 10. So I'm going to divide 2 by 2 and 10 by 2. So I'm going to get a new fraction of 1/5 and a new fraction of 7/5. I then am going to look at my other numerator and denominator. So I'm looking at 7 and 5. Nothing goes in evenly to both 7 and 5 other than 1. So I'm just going to leave those the same. So I have 1/5 times 7/5. 1 times 7 is 7, and 5 times 5 is 25. You'll notice that I have the same answer for this problem, 7/25. The first way that we showed you up at the top is going to require you to do a little bit more work at the end. The second way that we did at the bottom requires a little bit more work in the beginning, but I do think that it's a little bit easier when you get to some more difficult problems. All right, let's flip the page to the next page. Okay, so we are going to try 5/8 times 14/15, and we're going to simplify first before multiplying. Okay, so you can see here that we're going to divide the numerator and the denominator by the greatest common factor. So 5 goes into 5, and 5 also goes into 15. So I'm going to divide by 5, and you see that our book already has made this part 1. I'm going to go to the side to make this a little bit more clear. So I have 1 and 8. And then I have 14/3, because 15 divided by 5 would give me 3. Okay, and then I look at my other one. So I'm looking at 14 and 8. What number goes in evenly to both 14 and 8? Well, they're both even. So 2 is going to go in evenly to both 14 and 8. So I now have created a fraction of 1/4 times a fraction of 7/3. I'm then going to multiply across. So I'm going to do 1 times 7 is 7, and 4 times 3 is 12. So my answer for this one is 7/12. Okay. All right. I'm going to have you go ahead and pause the video here, and I am going to have you do over here numbers 1, 2, and 3. And we'll be going over the answers to these questions in a second. Okay, welcome back to our video here. We are going to do 5/6 times 3/10 first. So it does ask us to simplify before multiplying. You can do either way. It doesn't matter as long as you are able to get the right answer. However, I do, like I said, suggest that you simplify at the beginning. So for this one, I'm going to look across at 5 and 10. And 5 goes in evenly to 5, and 5 also goes in evenly to 10. Okay, so I'm going to divide by 5 on the first one, so I get 1/6. And then I'm going to divide by 5 over here as well, so I get 3/2. Then I'm going to look at my other numerator and denominator, and 3 goes in evenly to both of these. So I'm going to have 1/2, because 6 divided by 3 is 2. And then I'm going to have 1, because 3 divided by 3 is 1/2. And I'm just going to do 1/2 times 1/2, which I multiply my two numerators together, and then my two denominators together. So my answer is just 1/4. Okay. Next question. I'm going to look across again. So 3 and 9. 3 goes in evenly to both 3 and 9. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. And 9 divided by 3 is 3. I then look at my other two numbers. So 5 and 4. Nothing besides 1 goes into both 5 and 4. So I just leave those the same. So 1 times 5 is 5. 4 times 3 is 12. And I look if I can reduce still, and I can't. So I get 5/12. Last one, you have 2 and 10. 2 goes in evenly to 2 and 10. So I get 1/3 times 9/5. And then I look at my other two numbers. So 9 and 3 have 3 as the greatest common factor that goes into both of them. So I get 1/1 times 3/5. And 1 times 3 gives me 3. And 1 times 5 gives me 5. So my answer is 3/5. All right, we'll be doing problems in class tomorrow. Whoops, I wasn't showing you the whole page there. We will be doing problems in class tomorrow and doing practice. Come with questions if you have any, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.